So today, April 19th, 2023, for our final New Mexico School Counseling meeting of the year. This is the last one. So really quickly, if you can use your emojis in the chat or whatever it is, how are you feeling right now? Last meeting. Let's use some SEL skills. How y'all feeling right now? We're at the end of the year. Okay, I see the celebration. Thanks, Charlie. Let's see, let me get my chat pulled up too. I can understand that, Karen. Yep, just a little silly all over the place. Gregory's cool. Ricky's doing pretty good. Awesome. Thanks for the feedback. Y'all, as y'all know, being school counselors at the end of the year, it's demanding. It can be, it can be all over the place, ups and downs, all types of things. But it's an exciting time of year because we're wrapping up. Kids are graduating, transitioning, lots of great things going on, but it requires a lot of us. Just to give you a snippet of what we're doing today, we are going to talk a little bit about what I just said, but before we do, we are going to jump into our New Mexico Professional Development Series. This is session number 5, the very last one, to tie up those labor market information and how school counselors can implement it in a school setting. So we're going to do that session. This one is shorter. I think it's shorter than the other ones that we did. And so after we do that, we are going to talk a little bit about some end of the year tips, me time, and then of course our raffle. So we're going to jump right in and get this thing going. All right, so for those who have been following along with the professional development series so far, thank you. If you haven't had a chance to, you can still join us. This professional development series is still active and is ongoing, and it will stay open. And so there are 4 lessons that you complete, and then each lesson has a quiz that's only 10 questions at 10 questions, and you can take it as many times as you need to get that 80%. For those who complete the entire series, you will receive a PD certificate indicating completion, and you'll just, I'll be able to see it. You can also reach out to me to make sure that we get that checked off. So before we get into all the other stuff, we are going to go ahead and dive into this lesson, and we're going to get this covered. All right, here is the site. For those who need it, I will also share it in, why is it not coming up here for me? Okay, sorry. Let me just stop for a second. Moving too fast. Stop share. Because that was full screen. That's why. All right, let's get this pulled up. And this is all on the Educate site. So if you have been following along, you should be able to populate, it should pull right up in your portal, your account. If not, like I said, you can still join us and follow along, and you can complete it at your own pace as well. All right. There we go. I want to make sure you all had that. So again, we're going to do this lesson really fast, and then we're going to jump back into some end of the year tips, me time, and then our raffle. All right. So when you log in, it should bring up your dashboard. And the one that we are working on today is incorporating LMI into education processes for New Mexico counselors. All right. So in this final lesson, we are going to talk about how we as school counselors can utilize these practices. All the time, we are working with our students to help them to best understand how to plan and prepare for their future, understanding trends, what's happening today, but what's also what they can potentially see in the future. So in this lesson, we are going to talk a little bit about career exploration, career planning, policy and practice, and then of course, some resources and tools that you all have access to. Okay. Let me go to full screen. There we go. Now I can see it all better. All right. So first, let's talk a little bit about career exploration. So of course, there are lots of really, cool and unique ways that we can carry out career exploration with our students, whether that's in a, classroom guidance lessons or small group or even individually. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some key terms that go along with the college and career exploration process, also and how to incorporate, of course, the labor market information. So college exploration, this is the basic, of course, definition where it all starts. This is the discovery of personal work-related attributes. So this is us learning more about our students and students learning more about themselves to figure out their interests or values, all the things that, what drives them, their passions, because that's what's going to help us to connect the dots. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the career exploration review. We've talked about this in the past, but we will review some career summaries, talk a little bit about the handbooks. There are some videos in this lesson that you all will have access to, and then just more about those online databases and, again, additional resources. So the focus area of career exploration. So traditionally, these are the two main things that we focus on when we're talking about career exploration. This is, again, the discovery of those personal interests, values, and skills, and then the review of the career summaries. So looking at the information that we have in front of us. So in recent years, there has been increased emphasis on providing firsthand career experiences. This, as we know, comes through those CTE programs and the courses that our students get to select and take at our schools, that where we have our CTE programs, our electives, maybe even some dual credit opportunities, apprenticeships, the work-based learning. This is our internships, shadowing opportunities, or even just the opportunities to interact and engage with local employers. And then volunteer opportunities. And then lastly, those school-related encounters with additional employers. So maybe people who come in for those career fairs or during CTE week, or, just different nights or events that you have where you invite people from the community to come in and talk to your students. So ultimately, the goal of career exploration is to help our students make informed career decisions. All of this talk about labor market information, high value jobs, all of that is so we can best support and guide our students so they can make the best informed decision. For so long, we've been working with students and trying to, was always, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot to put on a student. But if we can frame a conversation around facts and the data, the information that we have right in front of us, that's legit and factual information, we can show them, and then tie in their interests and their passions. And this can help to motivate them and to encourage them to continue to explore careers and opportunities. So labor market information is, it's becoming a big thing. And again, it's very helpful when it comes to career exploration. This process assists students in, accessing and understanding the labor market information. And again, it just aligns their career aspirations to what's really happening in our world. So again, this infographic here shows us, the center of it is that decision, that what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh my gosh, that's pressure. How can we break this down? Let's look at that labor market information. What are the facts? What is the data showing us? Let's look at the students' interests, their skills. What are you good at? What are your strengths, but also what are your weaknesses? What are your goals and your values? Looking at different ways to break this down to help them get to a better, best informed decision. Also, another tool that is extremely helpful when working with students are, of course, these career clusters and the pathways. As we all know, there are 16 different career clusters, and each career cluster houses numerous, jobs, careers, and, pathways, but it's broken down into kind of familiar sections that all have related content and educational studies and pathways. But then also helping students to understand and learn what is labor market information. Because when you first say that to students, they might go, whoa, 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 whoa. That sounds complicated. What is that really all about? But thus far, we have really kind of dug into the labor market information and kind of broken it down by, job openings, salaries, expected growth, all of that, just looking at it so you all can have a better understanding of it, so you can give this student this knowledge and information to your students. So we get it here and then we pass it along. So once students have a better understanding of the terminology, the definitions that we're referring to, of course, that's going to help them to take it all in, process it, and understand it. And then lastly, understanding local high value careers. So understanding what's happening right here in your communities, the available jobs. And this helps when you bring in those local employers and businesses, so they can talk more about who they are and what they're doing, so students can start to build a relationship or at least become familiar with the company and organizations, so they could maybe, again, have a better understanding to make informed decisions about, is this something that I think I would be interested in? Is this something I'd want to do? So now when we talk about all of this information, what are some ways that we could go about sharing this, getting this information out to our students? So first, of course, there's printed handouts and flyers, because when we're thinking about this, we have to remember those equitable practices. How can we connect and reach all of our students, all of our families? So printed handouts and flyers for some who may have, not the best internet or no internet or limited access, limited computers, putting these papers in their folders, sticking them, attaching them to other important documents, report cards, mailing letters home, different tangible pieces of paper objects that parents can put their hands on, and even students can, so that they can review the information. And then, of course, we have an abundance of opportunities to share online information pages. We can always create a one-pager. We say, hey, check out these resources. Let's look at this information, and provide numerous links for them to just click through, and so that they can get this information. And then career presentations. This is something that can take place, again, in those guidance classroom lessons, within small groups, maybe lunch and learns, even in individual settings. Let's say you already have a presentation already put up, and maybe it's a quick one where you can just show graphs and information to just, again, connect with students. This is all about building relationships and connecting with them so they can have a better understanding of this information, of the material. And then lastly, this goes into our advising sessions. Again, large group, whole groups, individually. It is definitely one of our goals as a school counselor to advise our students, to provide them with the knowledge and information so they can make the best informed decisions about what they're going to do next. The simplest approach to incorporate the labor market information into existing career exploration materials and sessions. So that's the summary. Try to find a way to incorporate this within whatever process and techniques you're already using. Maybe you already have a presentation or something you do for career exploration. How can you tie in the labor market information? How can you teach them how to read it, understand it, and how it can, again, support them with making decisions? So using labor market information to make career decisions, it can be a starting point and a guiding factor. So this just shows us how when we start with the local high value careers, it can lead us into talking and having the conversations about your interests, your values, skills, goals, information, and exposure, and then how that can lead to the ultimate career decision. Again, when you start with what do you want to be when you grow up, or start with just like, look at this career, look at that, like that can be overwhelming. But when you meet a student where they are and say, hey, what do you like to do in your free time? You know, what makes you happy? What's a hobby that you have? Or what's something you're good at? You know, you can always pull different things from that and say, hey, let's take, you know, the fact that you really like math. Let's pull that piece of it out and let's see what local high value careers we can find with that. And let's tie it into your interests and your goals. And let's see maybe what kind of career. So you all, again, this is a starting point and then guiding factors. So this is one thing that I want you all to reflect on, maybe write down to think about later. Why do you think LMI is found as a critical factor in the career exploration process? Why is this so important? Having factual information about your community, about what's happening right there where you are, what the growth is, what the wages are. Why is this, you know, collectively, all of this information, why is this a critical factor that you all should be using within your career exploration process? For those who want to, you know, click on this at your own pace, there is a video that kind of guides you all through this as well. But for the sake of time, we don't have enough time to watch the video, but it is here as a resource. So next, we're going to go into the career planning section. Oops, there we go. All right, so of course, as always, we are going to start off with some key terms. So career planning is the process of discovering educational, training, and professional opportunities that suit your interests, passions, and goals. Again, we're looking at the student, and this is their time to shine and to let us know more about who they are and where they want to be or what they see themselves doing, their passions, all of that good stuff. This is where we use our great listening skills to listen to them and to kind of, you know, filter through this information and to give them, again, a starting point and a guiding, and to be guidance, of a guidance for them. And then, of course, always referring back to that LMI. This is all of the information that's gathered that discusses the employment levels, unemployment rates, wages, earning data, estimates of available labor, employment projections, staffing patterns, all of this information that, again, is beautifully compiled within a program, again, that's right there at your fingertips. I do this every single time we talk about it because it's this easy. You all have like instant access to a phenomenal tool right here on the New Mexico Community of Best Practice website. This P2C, Pathways to Career Navigator. This is everything that I'm talking about. This outlines, highlights the entire state of New Mexico. You can filter it down to your community, where you are. You can put in like your, you know, your parameters, everything that you're looking for, and it can really create reports that can be extremely helpful for you when you are talking about career exploration. Okay, so there are several components that go into effective career plans. So the labor market information, it does, you know, it can influence almost every aspect of your planning. Again, we start with you know, at the center of it is the initial career plan, but then what all goes into it? You know, students are always asking, how long do I have to go to school for to do that? Or how much is that gonna cost? What all do I have to do in order to get there? And again, when you look at it, in this huge chunk, it can be overwhelming. But finding ways to incorporate the LMI into smaller pieces while giving them, the facts and the information that they need can really help them to kind of take it all in and process it. So it's all broken down into education and training, career support services, job search strategies, work experience, financial planning, and then lastly but not least, motivation and drive. So when we're looking at the LMI, three of the top categories that we want to review, of course, is the occupation, so the career cluster, the annual openings, and then the median wages, because this is going to help us to identify those high value jobs. How realistic is it for you to get it? And what does this look like for you long term? What type of living can you get from this job? Now, exposure to the LMI during the career exploration process supports the things we just discussed. And this is the educational training, financial planning and support services, job search strategies, and motivation and drive. So I'm going to scroll up here. So, of course, it's going to talk about the requirements. That's how long you have to go to school for, any certifications that you may need. And again, this can just help them to get everything in their mind, to create that outline and align it again with their goals, their interests, and how realistic this is for them. And then financial planning and support can be used to evaluate the return on the investment. Sometimes, if a student hears, I got to go to school for 6 years and it's going to cost me this much money, if you say, hey, but once you do that, you're going to make this much money. It kind of puts a different perspective on it, because they're going to say, hey, I'm going to get all that back plus this in this amount of time. So really, again, it's about informing and helping them to see the positives and making informed decisions. Job search strategies. This helps us to see and use and have access to potential competition in the market. So understanding what jobs are available, what the demand is for them, and different opportunities that they can have regardless or depending upon which career pathway they go down. And then here's that motivation and drive. Like I was talking about before, when students know more about what they're going to get out of it, and once that aligns with like their goals, their interests, it really does give them that extra motivation and drive. When they say, hey, I really like, math. Like I love numbers. And, you have some kids that say, I just see numbers. Like it's just easy. It just comes to me. And you say, hey, if that's something you really enjoy and it's easy for you, you want to do it, you can do this and make this much money. And, where you see yourself in the future, this can help guide you to get to that point. That builds that intrinsic motivation. That helps them to say, maybe this is the path that I need to be on. This can really help me to live the kind of life that I see myself living. And now the second reflection that I want you all to just kind of take in and kind of chew on is, think about when you're assisting students in this career planning process. At what point in this process do you find it to be best to introduce the LMI? So when should you start talking about the labor market information? Should you do it at the very beginning? Should you do it somewhere in the middle, or wait to the very end? Where and how does this fit in to this whole process? Now, for me, I believe it's something that should be brought up and talked about at the very beginning, of course, because that creates awareness of what it is. And then along the way, they can learn and become more knowledgeable and educated about what it is. And then they can learn to apply the LMI to different local high value jobs, or to different choices and decisions that they want to make when they're looking at different careers. So introduce it early on, and then allow them the opportunity to apply it all throughout this process. Say, hey, let's pull up the P2C Navigator, and the last two jobs that you wrote down that you're interested in, I want you to plug them in. I want you to look them up, and I want you to do some research on them. I want you to find out the demand, how much they make, and see if it still aligns, if you're still interested in going this route. So that's just my opinion on it. But again, think about how can you and when should you implement the LMI. Again, there is a video that you can watch that will break down everything that we just discussed. And now we're going to go on to policy, policy and practice. So we're going to start with our key terms. And so pretty much in this section, this is going to talk to us about methods used to gain buy-in from policymakers and educators, because, you know, it's important to kind of understand the big picture and everything about, you know, jobs and what factors affect jobs and what's required in order to get good jobs. So we're going to start off with some terms. So local labor market. This is characterized in the U.S. by enormous differences in worker earnings, factor productivity, and organization innovation. So locally, what's happening? And then policy and practice. I really like this definition. It says a policy is a practice that has been formally presented as an expectation of management or administration. So this is a policy that has been put into practice. All right. So most elements of the education process can benefit from the LMI and its ability to direct efforts towards high-value career destinations. So awareness of the local labor market can influence decisions regarding course offerings, curriculum design, programs, services, and more. So I hope you're kind of catching on to this trend. So we've seen a very similar diagram used over and over again. So this one is talking about, you know, how it's kind of incorporated within the school setting to help with like career readiness. We've seen how it can be incorporated, you know, on the career side, and then how it can be incorporated with, you know, within the community and just helping us to inform decisions. The labor market information is something that is really a great tool that can be utilized in all aspects. I mean, it covers everything. So for career readiness, again, this can be built into school programs. This can be something that is used when you're talking about academic goals. This is something that can be used when we're talking about, you know, that master schedule, course offerings, our CTE programs, creating the school's curriculum, what theme and pathways we're going to offer. When we look at the information, the facts from the labor market information, it's really strong data that guides a lot of, it could be, you know, the majority of what we are doing. And again, this is something that helps us to keep up with the trends so that we're not teaching outdated information or offering outdated CTE programs to students, and they're going to come out with a certification of something that's maybe, you know, gone more towards, you know, the robotics world or automation or all that stuff. Again, we want them to stay on top of the trends and stay up to date with what's happening. And that's, again, by following the data and the facts. All right. So information to share with policymakers and educators. This is, you know, when we're talking about CTE programs, course offerings, and things like that, I understand, you know, us as school counselors, we don't have the final say. We're not saying, hey, we have to do these courses and things like that. But we do have a certain, you know, level of expertise in this area when we are able to understand labor market information, the trends, hearing what students' interests are, and just help and just encouraging or just saying, hey, I think, you know, this could be a good idea if we offered, you know, more opportunities in this pathway or this career cluster, because this is what I'm seeing in the labor market. So looking at the overview of the local high value careers, understanding what those high value jobs are right here in our own communities. And then, of course, teaching and sharing more about career clusters and pathways. You'd be surprised people who don't know or understand what career clusters are and what pathways are. And it's always easy to start with, there's 16 of them and they're going to be like 16. You're like, that's just the start. Once you open up those clusters, there's so much inside. So that's always a fun conversation. But then lastly, but not least, those basic terms and definitions for helping people to understand the LMI. Now, ways to incorporate or talk more about the policies and practice and communicate this is through information pages. Again, you can always do one pagers. You can send out newsletters. You can have these lessons, but brief charts. As you've seen throughout these lessons, there's been tons of infographics and information to kind of break things down more visually so that you can kind of read and see it all at the same time, just to give you a summary. And then summary pages listing top career clusters and program suggestions. One thing that I would often do is every now and then I would send out information about certain careers and just like a glimpse, a peek inside this world. There's so many videos here. There's roadmaps of people talking about their careers. And then you can always do fun graphics around it with how much money they make and how long they went to school, just to give them this information and then say, hey, go try out this navigator or go plug this in to do some research on your own to see if this is something you like or something similar. You can always find innovative ways to, be creative and fun so that they can do more research on their own. And then actual presentations. So getting in front of students. Maybe it's you you contact some local employers and they come in and talk to students about what they're doing, or maybe you're reaching out to families. Maybe you have some parents who have some cool, unique, interesting jobs, or maybe you've taken a survey and you found out the top 5 careers that your juniors are interested in, or even, top 5 careers that third graders would like to know more about. And you bring these people in to talk to your students about what's happening in their world so that they can be, again, knowledgeable and have that awareness and opportunity to learn more about what that career is. All right. Using LMI in policy and practice. So we're starting again with that awareness. That's the biggest thing. We want you to know about it. I think one of, an injustice for students is them saying, I didn't know. I just didn't know. And so we really want to prevent that. So creating that awareness of the LMI, what it is, and then what local high value career clusters and occupations are, and then showing them how to use this information so that they can make those informed decisions and how to plan and develop their skills and interests around this, because again, that's that guiding process, okay? And then talking to them about the education process is like what it's gonna take to get you there, and then empowering students with that knowledge and the skills to support them. Like it comes full circle from awareness, informed decisions, education, and then empowerment. And that's where that motivation and drive comes from. And, again, like at its core, like that's who we are. Like we increase awareness. We are advocates. We provide resources. We guide students. We are here to support our students so that they can make the best decision moving forward. We have our students for a short amount of time. And once they leave us, we want to think and hope that, that we're leaving them in a better place and space. So if we can have a more organized, a better framework to use when we are talking and working with our students about career exploration, then, again, like I just really think, why not? Like this is a really great framework to help us pull everything in and guide our students and know that what we're talking about and what we're teaching, it's accurate information, that it's facts, like it's going to support what we are saying, it's going to support the research that they are doing. So the third reflection, in what ways can you assist and sharing information with policymakers and educators, connecting the benefits of using LMI that result in leading students to high-value career destinations. How can you, as a school counselor, take in all of this information and share it with the people that matter, whether that's, starting with your principals, maybe that's district leaders, superintendents, like any opportunity that you get. How can this information be used to guide us in making better decisions for our students, our schools, and our communities? There's another video that kind of ties all this up in another pretty bow for you all if you'd like to watch it. All right, and then lastly is our resources and tools section. So here, again, we're going to show some terminology, but we're going to continue to talk about how you can collect information, share, communicate, and use the LMI all through that career exploration process by increasing awareness and getting them to do the research, to see it for themselves. So getting it out. And then the career planning process, communicating different methods that they can use while planning, while making decisions, creating an outline, goal setting. And then the policy and practice. And this is using the LMI. So after they've had, they've talked about it, they're aware of it, they have their goals, how can they use the LMI to do the research and to see for themselves, this does make sense. This all, it works. I'm getting what I need. So again, like I showed you before, right on your on the New Mexico website, you have access to the Pathways to Career within the Resource Center, and then your and on the site there is a page that breaks down the career clusters. All of them are identified, and it opens up, and again, it gives you a ton of information. There are resource guides all about the Pathways to Career. We have linked additional terms and definitions. Some of them will be similar to what we've already discussed. But again, these are resources and tools that you all can use when you are working with your students. So, you don't always have to recreate the wheel. Jump into this course and say, hey, let me pull this, let me pull that, so I can use it when I'm working with my students. And then, as you all know, New Mexico has a career clusters guide that you all have access to. And then these are some external resources that you all can use, such as the National Career Clusters Framework, the Occupational Outlook Handbook, the Career Outlook. These are all very similar products that you can use, like the Navigator. These are free resources. The only difference between this one and the Navigator is that this one is these are national, and the Navigator is national too, but it's already broken down so that you can see specific information about New Mexico, or even like your different districts and communities that you live in. And then here is the lesson 4 video to give you some more information. And so today, the key takeaway is talking about career exploration, making sure that we are getting out in front of our students, talking about different ways that they can discover and learn more about themselves through their interests, their passion, their hobbies, and how this can align to different careers. And then the actual planning process, and that's using that LMI, building those goals, creating the outline, just trying to put some structure to it to help them see how their interests and goals can all come together to help them make the best informed decision about a possible career choice. And then understanding more about the policy and practices that we are all using in order to best support our students. And then, of course, those resources and tools. So this was all of the information that we talked about today. At the very end of this, we have linked all of these resources again so that they're easily accessible for you all. We've also linked some articles and reports here I know it's a ton of information, but again, you all have access to this at any time. Maybe not right now. I know if you haven't started, it might be a little overwhelming because it's the end of the year. But when you do have some time, I strongly encourage you all to really review this because it is full of really great information. I just realized that was kind of dark. I am so sorry. It's kind of at the end now. And then, of course, the NS4Ed Resource Center, where we have a lot of user guides and resources for how to use that navigator. Lastly, you all have the opportunity to take the quiz. And again, for those who complete the quiz for all 4 of the series, you will receive a certificate for professional development for completing this. All right, so that is the lesson for today. I am now going to, let's see if I can find it. All right, pull this back up so we can jump back on it, and we are doing great on time. All right, so that was the lesson. Again, you all have access to this course. You can go in and complete all the modules at your own pace. You have unlimited opportunities for the quizzes. And then once it's completed, it will document your completion within your account. You can also reach out to me if you'd like and say, hey, I'm done. And everyone will receive a completion certificate. All right. So now kind of back to us a little bit as school counselors. And I know I'm jumping through it because I really try to respect y'all's time. Y'all give me an hour every month. And I try to stick to that hour. Don't want to take advantage of it. So end of the year tips. And I would really kind of like if you all kind of jump in a little bit, because as school counselors, like we're our best resource. We are the ones, we need to be able to communicate and talk to each other about what this looks like, no matter if you're a veteran counselor, a new counselor, whatever it is, we can all use each other's feedback and insight when we're working through, being a school counselor, because we wear numerous hats. So it's the end of the year. We're all feeling it, as you all showed me at the beginning with all of your emojis, and I appreciate you for doing that. But here are some tips that I have. And again, chime in. If you can think of some tips to share with other school counselors, put it in the chat box, or if you're brave enough, come off mute. But give yourself grace. You wear several hats. You get asked to do a lot of things on a daily basis, and you do it to the best of your ability. And I'm sure that you do it very, very well. Give yourself grace. Take it one task at a time and then prioritize them. Once we do that, our list sometimes it can be lengthy, right? It's a lot to do, but one task at a time. That's all we can manage. We always talk about multitasking, and maybe we can do that to a certain degree, but some things require our full attention, and that's okay. One step, one task at a time. Communicate your needs. If you work on a team of other counselors, utilize your team. Work together. If you don't, or if you have other people within your, or outside of your team, like admin or the support service professionals, talk to them, get what you need, or, just communicate what you need for them, especially if it's going to help you to complete the task and get things done that you need to get done. And then, of course, it's that time of year. Make that to-do list. Schedule your meetings with the students and families that you need to be talking with. Right now, I put this on here twice, I guess. So right now, you're going to have those students that you may need to have a conversation with. And it may be because, hey, you're a credit shy, or your grade is right there borderline. We need to have a conversation. Figure out who those high risk or top priority students are and how you can connect with them as soon as possible. Send out the communication to not only the student, but the parent, let admin know, just really try to grab them all in. It's April 19th. We still have a little bit of time. And then for those that are scheduling, if you're already doing those course tallies and looking at, if people are asking you how many courses or what should we offer, I'm sorry, because right now everybody gets crazy and they want everything right now. And you're like, can I get through this first? But make that to-do list, think about your needs, prioritize them. And then, if there are any end of the year reports that you need to be doing, put those on the list too. And think about the data from all of this that you can use. What data can you use right now that could be helpful? And then maybe store away any data that could help you over the summer or working into the fall year. And then lastly, but not least, this is probably one of my favorite things. What final events are you hosting? Is there anything that you want to do? Are there any end of the year celebrations, any test prep sessions you want to do? Any small groups? Is there something that you need to do to get in front of your students one last time before this school year is out? So make your to-do list, give yourself grace, one task, one step at a time. You are doing a phenomenal job. There are numerous people in this world who could not last a day in our shoes. So I appreciate you all for what you do for your students and how school counselors make the world go round. And I stand firmly on that. Without us a lot, it'd be rough out here. So let's see. All right. And then me time. After all of that, what about you? So anybody want to share, what are you doing right now to push through? How are you hanging on? What are you doing at this very moment to get you through the end of this school year? Some of y'all might just go to the 8th, sometime in May. I don't know if anybody goes to June, but how are you hanging on? What are you doing right now? Anything? Anybody want to share? Oh, yes.
Getting in lots of,
Go ahead.
just getting in lots of walks, exercise.
Yeah. Good for you.
Mhm.
Good for you, Denise. Oh my gosh, that is very helpful. Getting sunlight. I don't know if you were on in the very beginning, but that's what I was talking about. Oh my gosh, I need sunlight right now. Kickboxing. Oh my, we could be really good friends. I think I'm a professional kickboxer. Keywords, I think. I do it a lot, but I love kickboxing. Oh my gosh. That's my thing right there. Good for you. All right. Yes, absolutely. Having something that you do for you, because we talk a lot about, what are you doing? Your coping strategies, what's happening, but we have to practice what we preach. Isn't that what they say? We have to figure out what's our thing that's going to help us get through. And then next, what are you looking forward to? What's coming up, or how will you refocus and refresh, relax, rejuvenate, all the re's over the summer? Anybody got any plans? Anything scheduled already that no one can take away from you? Even if your principal sends you an email or calls you on July 9th, what are you doing? Ooh, Hawaii. I am jealous. Baseball, donuts. It's the simple things, right? Absolutely. Oh, yes. Looking forward to Disney. Oh my goodness. Great stuff. Family time, camping, hiking, and trips. Yeah, gardening. Yes, outdoors. I give thumbs up to all of that. And I wanted to add that this slide in here because, even if you don't chime in right now, hopefully you just heard me asking the questions, and at least it starts to put this thought in your mind and you're saying, what am I doing? Do I really have nothing for myself? Like, what can I do? Because as you all know, it's super, super important for us to rejuvenate, for us to take care of ourselves, because that's what's, that we have to have that in order to be the best that we can be for our students and perform, at our peak. We have to find an outlet and a way to take care of us because they need us. They do, but we need ourselves too. So we got to find that balance. So if you don't have something right now, even the smallest things, like we saw donuts, outdoor stuff, it doesn't have to be grand. Everybody's not going to Hawaii, right? I'm jealous. That's why I said that again, because I want to go to Hawaii. But think of something that you can do for yourself, even if it's stepping outside and allowing that sun to just shine on you, and you allowing yourself 3 minutes to just bask in the sunlight. Whatever that is, do it. Write yourself a sticky note and say, to do for myself, and you stick it somewhere and you can't take it down until you do it. Whatever it takes. But I hope that you all find something that you can do for yourself, because you deserve it and you need it. And again, you deserve it. You deserve it. All right. So last but not least, and why you all stuck around, right? Was for this raffle. Let me double check my list. Go away, PowerPoint. We're done with you. All right, let me double check my list and see, make sure I got everybody's name on here. Missing a couple. Let me get it added. Go ahead. Yep, I got you. And one more. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's right. All right. And let me share my screen, because it's just better that way. It's fun, right? We have a moment to feel like kids again and see a wheel turning and who's going to win the prize. So here we go for our final school counseling monthly meeting raffle. The winner is Daniel Jones. Are you here? Is Daniel Jones still here? No, he's gone. Okay. Let's go back. Let's try it again. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Screen. I got too many screens up. Okay, close. Oh, don't do that. Not an error. Minimize. Okay, let me make sure. Okay. I think I missed the name too. Okay, let's try it again. Share. All right. One more time. Winner is so close. Rebecca. Ron, I thought you were going to win it again. Didn't you win it last month? Rebecca, are you here? I think that was the name I just.
I am.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, if you will be so kind to send me your email address just to make sure I have the right one, so I don't send some random person a gift card. I'm sure that would be like a really great surprise. But send me your email and we will get that sent over to you by tomorrow, okay?
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time and for joining me throughout all of these monthly meetings. I really appreciate you all. I hope that you all have a fantastic end of the year, that it goes smoothly, that you all just continue to thrive and just persevere and get through this. And it's just really great. And you get to all of the things you're looking forward to doing, and you find time for yourself as well. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day and school year, and I'll see you in the fall. Take care. Bye-bye.